Okay, I don't know if that's a question to answer.
I guess I would ask you, I want to go back to some questions that have been raised, but I'm not sure completely answered. And look, I am a supporter of bike lanes. I mean, I think that it's great how many miles of bike lanes the DOT has added throughout the city, and the bike numbers are up. I commend you for that. But what we have here on Kent is a real problem. And I don't understand two things. One is what you said before, which was news to me, and about that it's okay to stop. If I understood it, you're saying a car can stop like 8 feet from the curb in the middle of what would appear to be traffic. Just tell me if I'm correct in understanding that. I cannot believe that.
Stopped on 10th Avenue when a car parked on the curb.
Yeah, I can't. I've got to believe that the precinct. I mean, I can't imagine you could do that and not get a ticket. First of all, it's just kind of dangerous, seems to me. Given that, and I do want to take Rich up on a suggestion of let's see if we can't get an agreed upon count, because no matter how many people come through there, the natural thing for a motorist would be to try and go around the other side. That strikes. I can't believe that would be the right policy, but. So I'd like to make sure, I'd like you to address if that's the case. And then also the question was asked about, you know, given that there's a southbound lane on White for you know, a key stretch here, including the new development, why isn't that adequate?
Why don't we address that, why isn't White Avenue enough on that stretch, and why do we need Kent and White?
Bedford and Berry go the other way.
A network of bicycle lanes that we're building throughout New York City that will be 1,800 miles when we're complete. We're up to about 420 miles right now, or bearing down on 420 miles. The Bedford, Berry, White, that's a north-south corridor that actually stretches now continuously from Sheepshead Bay to Newtown Creek. So you can bike in a bike lane all the way from the south end of Brooklyn to the very north end of Brooklyn.
Exactly. So why do you need that?
Kent Avenue hugs the waterfront, and it's part of what is called the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway. And it's actually, in the future, we're building additional segments that will wrap around and continue around the Navy Yard to Dumbo and hug the waterfront route. And those are the two different routes that are being served by those two different facilities.
So it's for the view. This young lady had a comment or question on the.
Question. I'm not here for commentary. I just wanted to know, why can't the Kent Avenue lane be a Class 1 lane, which means totally separated from traffic? Then you wouldn't have this problem. You would avoid all the no standing issue, and bikers could ride on the other side of cars between the walkers and the parked cars. Why not?
Wait, what is your proposal?
That's an excellent question. It can be Class 1 in the future. It takes a lot more, you know, you just have to build actually a physical divider, so it takes much longer, so it would be a capital project. But the street is 38, 40 feet wide. The width, we can't change the width, there's nowhere to grow. So if you have two moving lanes and the 2 bike lanes and the divider, you don't have any space left over for parking. So it wouldn't bring the parking back, but it would change the configuration of the street, just reallocate the space.
Rabbi Glantz.
Yeah, like on the same way, like the street.
Hi. Good evening. First of all, I want to thank the council and everybody else who initiated to make this possible tonight. As you can see, you know, the heat is up and everybody's excited about what's going on. Now, I understood, I want to bring up issues about bike lane, which is important about the regulation science. But before I say it, you know, I was amazed. I live over here in Williamsburg since I was born, and this is over 50 years. And we have gone through administration after administration after administration. We haven't seen so much happening with white lines on the roads, with hundreds of other emergencies that is happening every day. Either lights are getting broken or other stuff is happening, and calls go into the system and nothing is happening. It takes weeks and a lot of times months until things are happening, and all of a sudden we see white lines. Every morning we wake up, we don't know what else we are going to find on the ground. Now my question is, one of the community board members just made a statement before, then at one of the community board hearings, which I didn't attend, it was shown some stuff, but maybe it wasn't understood that well. My question is beyond that. We knew nothing about it. We woke up Shabbos morning to find out that Kent Avenue is a no-stopping zone and that we have bike lanes on both sides, in addition to Bedford Avenue, White Avenue, Berry Street. We were in the middle of talking to City Hall and to our elected officials about eliminating those bike lanes. Not enough that we didn't get it eliminated, but we wind up now negotiating that we have no place to go. Now, I don't know if anybody who makes those decisions, and I understand it's exciting to have bike lanes, and I have nothing against the people who ride on bikes. It's important to make them happy as well, and to make their life easy. But at the same time, not on the expense of the entire community who lived here since after World War II. We are children of Holocaust survivors. We came over here to live a little bit in peace. And now we wind up with a situation where all of a sudden we can't pick up the children to go to school. Now, I don't know if you're familiar, but Schaefer Brewery is one piece that has about 160-some families who are there in poor apartments, and they can now send their children to school or be picked up by a car service, as you heard from this gentleman. In addition to that, it's under construction. You have across the street 215 families in one parcel, 320 families in the right next parcel, and all these people, and these buildings are built in a low density so they don't have to provide parking. Meanwhile, all these people are not going to be able, number one, to park. Number two, they're not going to be able to send their children to school. They're not going to be able to walk the street. People are going to be locked in. And I don't understand, how is it a possibility that something so dramatic change should happen in a community that is here for so many years and nobody should know anything about it? Now, I had a big question before, how come that the community wasn't notified? Now I understand that those people that got the information initially didn't understand the information. So therefore, we kindly request that we should take out the no stopping immediately. Meanwhile, you have certified lumber over there. The economical situation is bad enough. Now they can't receive no merchandise on that 2 blocks because now it's no stopping for their trailers, and every morning they come with merchandise. They as well get summons just for staying and waiting for the lumberyard to let in the merchandise. And I think this was done without any planning, at least with no notification to the community. Nobody knew anything about it, and I would appreciate that it should be rescinded with everybody's decision and the elected officials' help and with God's help. And if they have a plan, they should start from scratch, and we should talk about it, and maybe at the end of the day, it's going to be something that's acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Again, in deference to Rabbi, that was at least 6 questions, and I think there may be an answer here somewhere.
Please stay focused to the class 1. You know, we need to make sure that we don't lose sight that if we can consolidate all of this and appropriately plan so that it's a class 1 bike lane rather than 4 unplanned, you know, drive by the night access for bikes. And in deference to what a lot of the constituents are saying, there's a median here that we need to reach.
That's the long-term vision, and as I mentioned before, when you build out, when you actually construct physical, raised medians, it takes quite some time. So this is an interim treatment, and it's meant to create the connectivity that will be built out in the future as a more robust treatment. But going back to the,
We have a question.
oh, I'm sorry.